Good morning. Welcome to another simple truth. We're still in the book 2 Kings chapter 5 as we go through this verse by verse. Last week I asked you how you're coming to God. Are you coming to him with a sense of humility, or are you coming to him with a sense of arrogancy? Naaman, the main character in this story that we've been looking at in 2 Kings chapter 5, comes to God with a sense of arrogancy around him. He comes with his chariots, his horses, almost in the sense of saying, look at who I am. And we're going to see that actually is confirmed later on. But I want to pick it up in verse 10 where it says, And Elisha sent a messenger to him, saying, Go and wash in the Jordan 7 times. Your flesh shall be restored, and you shall be clean. I want you to grasp that Naaman is used as a commander of the army of Syria. He is used to getting attendance with people that he wants to see. And so again, we look at the story and we look at the fact that Elisha doesn't come himself to see Naaman. Instead, he sends a servant with a very simple message. Go to the Jordan, wash 7 times. Now, we know, because we've read the Bible before, that's significance, that the Israelites marched around Jericho 7 times. The 7 is a godly number. It's a number of complete, a number of actually, perfection when it comes to what God is doing. Right? That the world was complete after 7 days. Our week is based on 7 days. And so the servant comes and he tells Naaman exactly what Elisha says. Hey, go to the Jordan, wash 7 times. So you're given an answer. So Naaman gets this answer, and I want you to look at further on in verse 11. But Naaman was angry and went away, saying, Behold, I thought that he would surely come out to me, stand and call upon the name of the Lord his God, and wave his hand over the place and cure the leper. I want you to understand the disconnect here. That Naaman, who isn't a follower of God, who isn't an Israelite, is seeking access to the God of the Jews. More importantly, he's seeking access to the power from that God. The power to heal, the power to cure. The king of Syria sent a letter demanding that the king of Israel heal him. Elisha steps in and says, listen, this is a God thing. This is a God moment. I want to help here. And so Naaman goes all the way to where the prophet is. But the prophet doesn't come out. There's no show. There's no spectacle. There's no grandeur. There's no, great moment. It's a pretty simple thing. Be obedient, Naaman. Walk down to the Jordan. Bathe 7 times, wash yourself 7 times, and you're going to be cured. But notice that Naaman's response, because it didn't happen the way that he wanted it to happen, is anger. Listen, you should be smart enough to be able to understand the application here. That too often, God doesn't show up the way we want him to, the way that we expect him to. There's no aha moment. There's no spectacle. Right? There's no grandeur. There's no great show. We don't get elevated. Instead, there's just a simplicity. Just obey me. Just simply do what I ask you to do. Again, that goes against human nature. We want God to step in and do something in such a grand way that it brings attention to what God has done. Now, we rationalize that a lot of time about, we want God to get the glory and we want all those kind of things. But the bottom line is we want a big spectacle to happen. We want God to show up with majesty and with might and to do something amazing. Isn't it amazing that sometimes God just simply wants obedience? That God craves sometimes simplicity. Will you just do what I've asked you to do? How many times have we missed out, those around us missed out on what God is doing, what God wants to do, because we've been told to do something simple and it doesn't seem to be enough. We've been told to just ask, to pray, to do, to be obedient, to go. But we want some spectacle to happen that makes it that we know that God is up to something, that he's doing something. You see, we go back to the story of Elijah. who's Elisha's predecessor. And we know the story of Elijah being in the cave. And we understand that with the wind and with the earthquake and with the fire, Elijah stayed in his cave. But with the simple, small whisper, with a small voice, Elijah had to come out of the cave to hear God. He had to follow. He had to be obedient. God wanted him out of the cave. Elijah didn't have to come out of the cave with all the grandeur, with the spectacle, with the loud noises. But when God began to whisper, Elijah had to get up, move, do something, get out of his cave. It's the same process here. With all the grandeur, right? There was going to be little required of Naaman. He wanted Elisha to walk out of his doorway and just make a spectacle for him. Right? Call down power from God, and instantaneously the problem was gone. Isn't that what you and I want today? And don't you and I want God to just show up, call down fire, and instantly take care of those who are causing us trouble? Instantly take care of our financial problems, our relational problems, our physical problems, our spiritual problems, our mental and emotional problems. We just want it to be done right away. We want to go to church, we want to pray, and we want to just feel better. We want to go to church, we want to pray, and we want a check to just show up out of the blue, gold to fall down from heaven that will take care of our financial problems. The truth is that sometimes God does work that way. Elijah called fire down from heaven. That was quite the spectacle. But then a small whisper got him out of a cave. Elisha never left his house, sent a message via messenger to Naaman. Are you willing to believe the messages that God is sending you through the messengers that God is saying? Do you sift through all of the teachers that are out there today to find the one that has the voice that will say what you want him to say? Or do you just simply listen to the people that God sends you, that God has you running into? That person that comes up alongside him with no grandeur says, you know, it's going to be okay, right? You know that God wants this for your life. You know that God has a plan for you. You see, I know that because I tend to be someone who wants grandeur. I tend to want God to affirm to me in just a total way that I would never miss that he's going to do something. He's going to lift me up, that he's going to make this happen, that he's going to fix this. As a matter of fact, I would like him to work before the problem even happens. God, just put money in my bank account before this happens. Fix this before this happens. Sometimes God just simply wants you and I to be obedient to the message that he has sent to us instead of being addicted to the grandeur with which the message has been sent. So today, let me challenge you with this. Are you addicted to the way that the message is sent? Does it have to be emotional? Does it have to constantly be with all kinds of chaos around it and a spectacle and grandeur? Or could you just simply get a message from God and just be obedient to that? Are you being obedient to what God has called you to today?